Hi, welcome to the Progressive Air Workshop. I'm Johnny Torres. Joining me, Michael. How you doing?
Good, Johnny. How are you?
Thanks for coming back.
No worries.
We're talking ducts today. So you got all this shiny new ductwork here.
Yep.
And of course, this is a big part of the home AC unit that most people don't see.
Well, that's obviously, yeah, they only see the vents. They don't
Right.
see what's in that attic, so they don't know how it's laid out and, you know. But yes, we're going to be going over here is a few things that they probably have never seen up in their attic.
Right.
But you know, one of the things that I run into a problem is lack of airflow.
Yeah, and so first, before we kind of get into how this all works, what are some of the symptoms that people typically call Progressive Air with and say, you know, this is an issue that would tell you right away that it's a duct issue?
Most of the calls that we get would be lack of airflow.
Okay.
Not getting enough air to a specific room, it's too hot, it's not enough airflow, they don't feel any air coming out of their vents.
Yeah, and so again, I mean, even if you've lived in this house for a long time, I think more so you kind of notice even if there's a subtle change, right, in the airflow in your home.
Absolutely.
Or the temperature being uneven in one room versus the other.
Well, we try to get the rooms all within 1 or 2 degrees. I mean, if you
Right.
get a room that's 3, 4 plus degrees hotter than the average room, there could be a heat load issue or could be some simple airflow problems getting to that one room.
And so what are some of the things that happen that affect the ductwork that cause some of these problems?
Well, basically, it could be a kink ductwork. This is part of our ductwork here, one of the many sizes that are in your home. You know, especially when a lot of people get into an attic to do repairs, cable guys that get up there, electricians get up there. You know, you may have some wires that are running over a duct.
Sure.
And what I mean by running wires, some of these wires, these are all strapped up, and sometimes, you know, I hate to say it, that they may have to run a wire, they may have to take one of our ducts out of the way to get to a certain area. So a duct, this is all a flexible duct.
Yeah.
This is the inner liner. So when I'm talking about kinked or pinched ductwork is maybe a wire's laying on top of
Right,
this.
any kind
pushing
of
it down.
pressure on this.
Exactly, and it's limiting the flow of air getting to it.
So this could even happen if you're using your attic as kind of a storage space.
Absolutely.
And some boxes might fall on it, or you accidentally set something down on it.
Absolutely, I can't tell you how many times I've been into an attic to where I've actually seen storage bins actually laying on the ductwork and
Wow.
causing sweating issues. That's another issue too. If
Mm-hmm.
you're pinching off the air, you're not getting enough air to that one area. You could have a lot of sweating going on in your ductwork, even at the register of the boot itself.
Not just sweating inside the house from not getting that airflow.
No, we're talking vent sweating here, yes,
That's right.
definitely. So also, you know, and, you know, when guys go through your attic, you're not up there, and the homeowner's not up there looking at them.
Mm-hmm.
So they may step on this ductwork, and basically, if this is going in, let's just say a typical duct, this is a plenum box that goes right up inside the house, and these ducts may come off that box like this. Well, you know, if they step on it, it pulls it off, and then now you got all this conditioned air going into your attic, where
Wow.
now you've got half or none going to that one area.
Yeah, and this is what typically is coming out of the AC unit?
That is correct. It's a
Okay.
supply plenum. Would be the supply plenum box, and
Right.
it does vary in different configurations depending on the application of the house and the way the ducts are laid out. But basically, you have a collar here, which is tapped into our 1.5-inch fiberglass board. That's standard now, it's code requirement. So the ductwork would actually just go and connect into here. This collar right here would be taped with aluminum foil tape.
Okay.
So you don't have any air penetrating through the leaks here. You'd also attach this here along with a strap that would pinch in on here and secure it. And then you have an inner liner here, the inner liner, the insulation, and then the outer liner. And that would just be fitted up here. Another strap would go on tight. We would also tape around that with aluminum foil, and then, of course, seal it. This is code requirement now that all boots and registers or any off the plenum,
Yeah.
any connection is going to be sealed with some duct sealant, some mastic, is what
Okay.
we call it.
And that just helps kind of reinforce
That
that
is going to
connection.
prevent any air leaks at all.
Right.
Correct.
Unless, again, like you said, there's any kind of
Unless
movement
there's
or
a
air.
rip or tear or somebody stepped on that, that's, you know, sight unseen, but we would have to investigate that.
Now, as you can see, we're obviously kind of grabbing on this, and this also, while it's nice and shiny, it's also a kind of semi-firm type of surface. So if anything does make contact either with this or with that, where it maybe causes a tear, and again, this is something a professional should be doing, but what is kind of the procedure that takes place to repair this instead of needing to replace it?
Well, the repair, really, it depends on the actual repair itself. I mean, if you've got like a little tear in here, depending on if it's just an outer liner, you can just put some silver tape on there and put some mastic on it. But if there's something internally that has come apart, or if it's been kinked to where you cannot repair it, you're going to have to cut that bad section out and replace that with a new section.
And if you have had a sweating issue, is it necessarily for replacement as well?
Absolutely. If there's and I find a lot of the times where homeowners have sat like something down on their ductwork, and months later, even a year later, they'll see little water spots up in their ceiling. They go, well, what's that? So I get up there and I find that on the bottom of here, because it's pushed down so much on the duct, that the insulation, the R value of that inner liner has lost it. So when you're in contact
so you get
with
that condensation around the
you
outside.
get 140 degree temperature on a 95 degree day. That attic gets very hot.
Right.
And when you've lost that R rating with that cold duct, guess what happens? It starts to sweat.
That's
so then you got the whole insulation underneath here soaking wet. So that's not going to dry out. You're going to have to cut that out and replace it.
Now, in terms of maintenance, right? So, of course, because it is airflow, you talk about dust, talk about all kinds of air particles that are flowing through this system. What's kind of the maintenance procedure to keep these clean and for a healthy living environment?
Well, you want to have them checked out and inspected, and usually, I mean, every contractor is a little bit different on their ways of inspecting ductwork. You know, if you're staying with a local Progressive, our AC company, and we go out there once a year to do our regular maintenance. It's not really needed to be every year to inspect the ducts, but if you had some major changes in your attic and had people up there and you're getting sweaty, lack of airflow, it may be time for us to get up there and do a visual look on it, just inspect to make sure. Yeah, periodically, I would say probably 5 years just to have your ducts looked at, unless you have an issue with it. Sooner the better, you want to get us out there. But as in the dust wise and everything, you know, there are companies out there that do cleaning on the ductworks and stuff like that, the inner part of it. That's something that the homeowner can look into.
Well, and also it goes back to the importance of having those air filters in place, right?
Exactly.
And changing those out regularly.
Exactly. At least, you know, I mean, the good air filters are good, but they can also do a lot more of restricting the airflow. That can also be a problem. A lot of homeowners get these MERV 3 type of pleated filters. They think and they have 3 or 4 or 5 of them in a house. It does good of trapping the dirt, but it restricts a lot of the airflow. And it's called high static. And if the air handler, the indoor unit, has to have enough air getting into it. If it cannot get enough air into that equipment, it cannot deliver the amount of air getting out to the out of the register. So, you know, sometimes.
So if you do have those, it might be better to change them out more regularly, right?
Yeah, regularly, or maybe stepping down to a kind of a medium type of filter.
Got it.
That's not so restricted.
Okay. So Michael, let's talk a little bit about older homes, right? So as these systems age, right, as this ductwork ages, what are some of the things that homeowners need to be looking for, and when should they be calling Progressive Air?
Well, you know, typically, you know, on the newer construction, you're not really too worried about, because we do have our blower test on all of our new construction houses. So, but for the older houses that have been out there where the duct system's 15, 20 years old, you know, believe it or not, even though it was airtight 15 years ago, they're going to develop leaks. They're going to be splits. There's going to be cracks in your ductwork. There's going to be holes in certain areas. And those things you really need to have a professional come out and look at. I don't expect the homeowner to get up there with a flashlight in their attic doing it. But, you know, they're really not they're not knowing what they're going to look at. So, but hire Progressive to come out. We can come out there and look at the ductworks and inspect and make any recommendations that may be needed.
All right. Well, anything else homeowners need to know about their duct system?
Just have it inspected at least once a year.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching the Progressive Air Workshop. And again, remember the name Progressive Air Systems anywhere in Tampa Bay. They're the largest Carrier factory authorized dealer on the west coast of Florida. Just go to progressiveairsystems.com for more information or call 855-847-3898.